This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
What's up, everybody? It's another episode of Coast to Coast. I am your host, Pags, and I have Bo with me. That's it today. Nobody else is coming on.
That's right. How's your weekend, man?
Weekend was good. Memorial Day was great. Like I said, I had some fun doing some things. I won a couple dollars in some gambling escapades, and I made myself, it was like on Sunday morning, I'm like, you know what? You know what would be a good thing to do? I think it would be good to go get some lobster tails and some T-bone steaks and some asparagus and make some dinner like that. So I had some surf and turf that, oh my God, I sometimes impress myself with the way I can cook because I don't do it that often, but sometimes it is really what I should be doing. So, yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. Some awesome food. So that was my weekend in a nutshell. Yesterday, I just had a gummy and relaxed.
Nice. Yep. No, so similarly, I won some money as well. On my end, it was some pull tabs, and then it was birthday parties, stuff like that. Tried to keep it a little more low key this year. And then yesterday, because it was rainy and terrible, I finally got around to running the new cable to put my router in the same room as my computer. So if it drops out from here, the hell with Comcast.
There we go.
Because I can almost touch the thing.
I get it now. So there should be no more reason why it dies. I have mine literally right there. You can't even see it but it's right there.
Yep.
So, I mean, I guess we should start off. Not that I care as much, but I'm sure other people are going to care. Bill Walton passing away at 71 years old. I was not a fan of his.
Yeah.
So. I will say, I wish the family all my condolences and stuff like that. But I heard too many stories about how he was an ass. So, and I'm not somebody who dances on somebody's grave, so I'm not going to play that card. But
yeah, I mean, that was kind of that era of coaching, though. Like most of them were.
Well, was it coaching? I mean, it was announcing. It was like when he was a player. I mean, I heard across the board that he just was not a nice guy, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I didn't know him personally, didn't meet him personally, so I can't speak that intelligently about it. But
sure.
I do know that it's it's a shame he's dead. I guess I'll leave it at that.
Well, on happier news, Angel Hernandez is retiring or being retired, however you want to look at it. But it does sound like he has reffed his last game, and that is awesome.
Here he goes. There's a number of stuff. Hey, listen, he's not going to be missed at all. It's like here the story is. This is how the story even goes. Here's the first paragraph, says it all about him. Angel Hernandez, who was widely considered baseball's most controversial and polarizing umpire, retired from MLB after a 34-year career. And he said that he's decided that he wants to spend more time with his family. Needless to say, there have been Many positive changes in the game of baseball since I first entered the profession. This includes the expansion and promotion of minorities. I am proud that I was able to be an active participant in that goal while being a major league umpire. Uh, he spent the last 2 weeks negotiating a financial settlement with the league.
Yes, I was going to say, I mean, he's getting forced out is really what it is. They're like, you know what? You are terrible at your job. The things you're calling aren't even remotely close now. Here's some money. Please leave.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
hopefully his family wants to see more of it.
Yeah, it's like they have this whole page. It's like,
Hopefully his family doesn't have softball games.
yeah, tell me about it. It says if anybody has the Score app, they need to go and read the "You're Out: Reliving the Highs and Lows of Angel Hernandez."
There were highs?
Well, there must have been. Yeah. Listen, and I got to imagine that that this was, he's being forced. They're like, listen, we could fire you. The union finally. I mean, they probably had enough. MLB had enough of a grievance to
Yeah.
probably fire him.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, especially when you get the entirety of the fan base, right? Like if you can galvanize every fan base together against one person, you got to get him out, right? Because it's not like, oh, he favors this team or whatever. He's just bad against everybody. So you have the entire fan base like, yeah, we like baseball and we'd like it better with him not in it.
Right. And in 2017 he filed that lawsuit against Major League Baseball because he thought that he was being, I want to be able to coach. I want to be able to umpire in the playoffs. And they're like, well, we don't want you to umpire in the playoffs because you suck
Yeah.
as an umpire. And
We don't
then he
even want you to
sued
umpire
them.
in the regular season.
He sued them and lost. Listen, there's lots of things that you could possibly do, but like when you sue Major League Baseball or anything like that, typically they don't want to go to court.
Yeah.
They don't ever want to go to court. They want to be able to settle out of court. There
course.
was no settlement out of court of this one. They were like, yeah, he stinks. So the racial discrimination lawsuit, they racially discriminated against him.
You knew that was going to be an element of it, right? It's the only card he had to play because it couldn't be like, no, I'm just really good at my job. Right. Yeah. So you play the cards that are in front of you. And when you being good at your job isn't one of the cards you can play, you have to do something like that.
Agreed. So, yes. And that could be one of the highs that they're talking about. They could have been talking about how he was taking too many gummies, I guess, before the games. And that's why he was, those
Honestly,
highs.
I think he'd be better with gummies.
He might be. He might be right at some point. So, yeah, I mean, I don't even know that he's worthy of this much talk. Nobody's throwing him a retirement party.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, not even his own peers.
They kind of are, but not in the way that you're thinking, right? Like nobody within the league is giving him one, but all the fans are having a retirement party.
Right.
Of don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Hey, one of my favorite lines from the Philly captain is when he saw Angel Hernandez and this was right after the Schwarber. You missed over here. You missed over here. You missed up here. You did it for them. You did it for them. He did that whole dance. Yeah, that was it. Right after that, he left. As he left, he was driving out, and the Philly captain is screaming at him. He's like, Angel Hernandez, you stink, and I don't like you.
I mean, I can't argue with him.
That was a lot there. That was a lot there. So,
well, I mean, you know that you're bad at your job when a very casual fan knows who an umpire is.
Yeah.
Right? Like you could walk up to anybody that has a baseball jersey, right? Like if you own one, odds are you're familiar with the fact that Angel Hernandez exists. And as an umpire, that should never happen. Like as a student of the game, sure, right? Like you probably know who the ref crews are and all of that. But when you have casual fans that are like, oh yeah, the only things I've ever heard is this guy's terrible at his job.
Yeah. I mean, and not just like, oh, he swung the bat. He didn't swing the bat. Let's look at the replay. Do you see swing? Yeah, you saw swing. No, there was no swing. Like it's so bad, just so bad. Making calls like when he would make bad calls, he got better. He was smart though. He didn't make bad calls on the base paths. He made bad calls that you couldn't review. So that's what
Yes.
made me think it was purposely. You
Yeah.
never saw anybody go like he did. That one time he did have reviews. He did have a couple of reviews, but you never see anything that was able to be reviewed by Major League Baseball from him. He made things specifically. So I was there. I watched that whole Friday night thing, Chris. We'll talk about the rest of the umpires here in a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we're talking about Angel right now because we're going to give him his 15 minutes of fame that he didn't get from everywhere else. Because I do have a little bit of a rant. I do have a little bit of a rant about these umpires. The fact that they let him go now actually makes things a little bit better. It means that they are paying attention. You know what I mean?
Well, and
That
it sets a precedent. It sets precedent. So now they can make actionable decisions, right? Like they didn't really have a path for it before. The union seemed to be stronger than the league could force them to be, to force them out. And now it looks like they have found a path. I would bet some of the other bad refs either got to get better or they'll be gone. So
I didn't bring my tinfoil with me today, so I don't know about that. But
man, yeah. So I got to go to the store to get that much tinfoil. Like that. That's a big reach.
I don't think so. Like listen, their MLB could determine the outcome of games solely by the strike zone. They don't need to do whatever else. So there are things that could occur in general that, hey, I watched it last year. That's what happened. They extended the strike zone. The umpires extended the strike zone for the Diamondbacks and the Astros. So, and they were able to, Astros won 3 games in a row, all on the road. And Arizona won 2 games. Once they came back home, because I think that they really did want the Astros and the Phillies back in the World Series. It would have been fine with Texas. I don't think they cared, but it wouldn't have mattered. They definitely wanted the Phillies in the World Series. Phillies didn't do it.
Yeah.
It's like ultimately the teams still do have to play. An umpire could take into account certain circumstances, and they can favor one way or another.
They can finesse a game. They can't win a game.
Correct. The team has still got to win the game. And, I think about that, a couple of years back, I guess it was when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl. That's how far back this was. And you could tell the referees during that game against the Carolina Panthers were doing everything they can to try to have Philly lose that game. It was a Thursday night game. It was a nationally televised game. It was one of the worst officiated NFL games of all time. It was so bad. And the Eagles still overcame all of that and won the game.
Yeah.
That is hard to do. It's very hard to do.
Yeah.
But that's how things are. That's why you can try to manipulate a script in sports, but you can't. I mean, think about it in basketball. You could call fouls and do all those other things. If they don't make the foul shots and they ain't making shots, they're going to lose the game. And it doesn't matter how much you try to do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's ultimately the players are still going to win or lose. Doesn't matter what anybody else wants.
Yeah. No, I mean, you can make some calls that can alter a game, but if a team is hot, like they can overcome it, right?
Right.
You can only sabotage so much before there's some very real pushback from a fan base. At some point it becomes very obvious that you're trying to make someone lose, and at that point, then all of a sudden you start losing viewers doing stuff like that. So you can only take it so far.
So short of that, now I'll bring up Chris. That's how umpires can change the outcome of games. In the first inning,
Yep.
making a very, very bad call. The guy's only seen 15 pitches up to this point, and he calls one in the dirt a strike.
Yeah.
And then you have Harper, who was just talking to him, saying, "Hey, whatever," and then he's got a quick hook. That tells me right away he had something for Harper. He didn't. It made me feel like right away that he needed Harper not to play in this game because he could have changed the outcome. Let's go ahead and throw him out right away so that my bet on the Rockies is going to win.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I looked at that. It was just, let's we got a guy who's 9-0. We're gonna give him his first loss of the year. So it's like just some of the strikes he wasn't given and stuff like that. But throwing out Harper in the first at bat of a game is ridiculous.
That is
And
ridiculous.
and that tells me that these umpires are getting way too soft, and these umpires now have to have, not only do they need to be held responsible for some of their actions, but those actions got to be made public.
Yeah.
We're beyond the time now, like that these guys get saved. You're not allowed to talk about them or else you get fined. You're not allowed to say anything unless you get fined. Well, then the union itself has got to start offering up, this is what happens with these umpires when they make these bad mistakes. They got to let us know what's going on, because if these guys are getting away scot-free by being able to change the outcomes in games so much, then ultimately you're going to start having big kickback in a lot of different ways.
Well, and not just in baseball. When you're looking across, well, not all the leagues, I guess, but when you're looking at MLB and NBA most specifically, is soon as you even turn to talk to them at all, they're bouncing out. It's just like, man, like you got to be able. I get that you can't touch them, right? Cool with that. Shouldn't be able to. That's fine. You should be able to talk to these guys. I mean, baseball managers used to be able to sit there and kick dirt on them and stuff. And, until they really started bumping them with their bellies, did they get bounced. So, I mean, now you're just like, I don't like this strike. See you later. Like, what is that? Like, how soft are these people? I mean,
well, and not only that, but to call him out, to kick him out of the game, and then find out that he got that call wrong. Like, there's no recourse whatsoever, because ultimately he's just the umpire. The field judge who was out there, the guy who's in charge, the head umpire who's over at first or second base for that game, comes running in and escorts him off because you can't talk to the guy anymore. Get the frig out of here. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. It's bad enough. I understand in the NFL. The NFL coaches are yelling at the refs all the time. There is always people that the guys on the field are talking to the refs. They're trying to work out whatever they can for any call, and I get it. You start, hey, I need you to start looking at this because it's happening every play. Then it happens the next play, they call it, and then they don't call it the second play or the third play, and then they call it again until the guy stops doing what he's doing. But it's like that's a different scenario. Those referees get yelled at a lot more than anyone else.
But that's what I mean is you can talk to an NFL ref. You still can't touch them, which again, I think you shouldn't be able to, but you can talk to them, and I don't know. I don't like where the MLB and NBA have gone. Where, I mean, you can't even look at them, and you give them a side eye, boom, you're hitting the bench. It's just like, man, what is? You shouldn't be able to influence a game that much.
Right. That is correct. I mean, unless you have one of those histories like Draymond Green, you know what I mean? Like Meta World Peace, like those guys that would get kicked out all the time, you got to
Yes.
be able to kind of do that type of stuff. But ultimately, you can't just that the game is not about the umpires or the referees. It's about the players. And you can't have an MVP, you know, the MVP kicked out at the first at bat because he questioned
Yes.
whether it was a strike or not. Where did you see it? Where did you have that strike? Is what he asked. He didn't
Yep.
curse. He didn't do anything. He just, where did you have it? Oh, you're not going to question me about balls and strikes. You're out. And he's like, what did I do?
Yeah.
That is uncalled for. And he should be sued. The amount of money that is Harper's pay. Let me tell you, if that was the case, they wouldn't be making bad calls in that case.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I know that he makes more than he could pay for Harper, I'm sure. But Harper has, his per game pay is a lot more than that guy probably makes,
in his
maybe
career.
a month.
Yeah, that you might not be able to do that one. I was trying to find a video for this, but
I
don't know where it went.
Yeah, exactly. They need to start. Actually, it's not them. I don't believe that the refs should start. The one ref that did it was the one guy who made the bad call for the perfect game. He took full responsibility of that. And they couldn't undo it.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer.
It is, because I mean it was a bad call. But at least he acknowledged it was a bad call.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. It's good seeing you. And in Green Bay gear, are you going to Brazil? Actually, that would probably be a far ride from Brazil to Hawaii. That's
You'd probably go from Hawaii into Mexico City and then down would be my guess. Either that or into LA.
Cartagena. Could probably go to Cartagena. Would probably be just as long.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of flights that you could actually get out of Hawaii.
So I will be there, Joe. I'm going to be there. So if you're there, it'd be awesome to see you. Even though you're wearing the wrong color green. It's all right. You wear green into the stadium. You see what they do.
To which none of you get to wear. You got to wear different colors. Green is bad.
Yeah, especially that day. But I mean, ultimately, these umpires or referees, they should be made that the union or the representative needs to come out and talk to them. Say, listen, they have to start pulling out these statistics. And these statistics are all going to go viral here at the end of this season, especially since this year baseball umpires are horrible. They're horrible. So it's going to be a big to do here, I think. So I don't know exactly what's going to come of this, but I got to imagine MLB finally did have enough of Angel Hernandez.
Yeah.
And they probably had enough to be able to fire him.
Which, good. It's about time.
Brad, no, I think they keep Walker in the rotation. I think they send Turnbull down the moment that Turner can come back. I think Turnbull's got to go down to the minors and stay long. I don't want him pitching 1 inning a game here in the bullpen. I want him to stay long. So that's why I think that they are going to send him down, just to keep him long. So just my opinion on that. That being the case, let's go with what happened over the weekend in all of sports. The Celtics
Close it out.
swept the Pacers.
Yeah.
There was no doubt in my mind that that was going to occur. And interestingly enough, so we think about things one way. We also think about things the other way. Normally, they want games to go 7. This is not one of those times. Yeah, I think
No.
that they're good. This Maverick series is over. Yeah, Mavericks are going to win this series now, and they're both going to sweep. And they got to move up the schedule then.
Yeah, you would think so, right?
So, do I think Turner will travel with the team to London? Yes, I do think he will travel to London. So, but yeah, back in basketball, I think that Dallas actually closes it out, and you have Boston versus Dallas here in the next couple days. I mean, I can't imagine they're going to try to do that any other way.
Yeah.
It's like, what are they going to say? We got to. Here we go.
Yep. Have fun on vacay, man.
Yeah. So much for Comcast being in the same room, by the way.
Yeah.
You're all digitized and, blipping.
Oh,
I'm
really?
not sure if it's me or not.
Oh, I was going to say, I haven't seen any problems on my end yet.
Yeah, it's a little blippy on my side. So I'm wondering if it's me.
Could be.
All right.
In either scenario, our routers are in the same room with us, so that should not be a thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I could probably even get the cord and plug it in and actually be directly involved and see if that makes a difference or not. But such is life.
Yep.
And anyways, but yeah, I think that that's going to end here in a little bit. We have the Dallas Stars up 2-1 in the NHL, and the Rangers up 2-1 against the Panthers. That specifically was a surprise. Them winning game 2. I've been saying all along that the Rangers got to score 3 goals to beat them. They did score 3 goals in the last game. Actually, they scored 5, and I said it. I'm like, that Bobrovsky's having a bad day. They're going to win that game, and they did win it in overtime. I don't know. I think that the Panthers win this tonight.
Yeah, I still think it's a 7-game series.
Yeah, I think it's 7 games. I think that the Dallas series goes 6. And that, how do we feel about that? So I think about that. Obviously, the Cowboys suck. So that Dallas team is not, didn't make it to the championship. But you have the Texas Rangers, which are in Dallas, obviously. And then you have the Dallas Stars, vying here for the Stanley Cup. And then the Mavericks on the verge of the NBA championship.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's their city's having
Dallas sports is a big deal right now.
Yeah.
It is a big deal right now.
They're going to be bad. So if you're a Cowboy fan watching the show, not to pile on, but your team is not going to do anything. So I hope you like hockey, baseball, and basketball because it's the only thing that they're doing. Football is not their deal. Although the Longhorns might be good.
Well, the Longhorns went to what? That was 2 years ago, right? It wasn't last year.
Oh yeah.
So, and it's funny, isn't it amusing that the Mavericks are doing this the moment that what's his face sold the team?
Oh yeah, I forgot they sold a couple years ago.
Yeah, he sold it. I thought he sold it last year.
Was it last year?
Yeah. So this is like their first year with this team. So I don't know. I just find it funny that he's gone and now all of a sudden they're a championship team. He probably has a partial ownership there of that team and such. I don't know. Anyways, moving right along.
So
Yes.
what's that?
No, go ahead.
If we jump into the WNBA for a second, the rookies are getting beat up on pretty good. Like there's been a lot of fouls, pretty ugly fouls. So here's one that I'll share because it's amazing. Because this was, if there was ever a flagrant foul, this is it. Like this is some Draymond Green type stuff. Let's see. Share screen. Yep, there we go. Just grabs her throat, throws her to the ground.
Who was this?
So this is Angel Reese. She's going up for a rebound. So
Did that girl get kicked out of the game?
oh yeah. Yeah. Well, because she doesn't even go after the ball. She literally grabs her throat and just chucks her to the floor.
Yeah. I would
and just turns around and walks away. Like you don't get a more flagrant foul than this right here. I mean, she wasn't watching the ball. So
yeah. I mean, that's are they angry about that? Is that like what's going on here? Like, is it in the WNBA? Are they having issues?
It's got to be because it seems to be a lot of the vets going after the rookies, right? Now, there's always a period of, the vets giving you your welcome to the league moment, right? But that is taking that way further, right? Like usually it's a questionable hit or something that was a little bit heavier than it needed to be. That was literally you wrapped your arm around someone's neck and threw him to the ground. Didn't even try and make a play on the ball. I mean, you can't get more of a deliberate foul than that. But when you see rookies getting that, welcome to the league moment, you're like, yeah, okay, you need that, right? Get kind of show these kids, hey, we're here. But, I think some of the rookies this year from the WNBA, because of the amount of attention they're getting, is maybe getting a little more than they should be, which is interesting because they're the ones that are helping drive all this new viewership, right? Like the Caitlin Clark versus, it happened over the weekend. I don't know why I'm mind blanking the other girl's name offhand. They had more viewers for that game, or they had more seats sold than Lakers home games all year.
Was it Asia Wilson?
No, it was another rookie. I think it was Brink, but I don't remember offhand. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, I'm looking right now
because I have it saved. So we got, it was Brink. So it was Caitlin Clark and Cameron Brink, and they got 19,000 in the house, and just under 19 is what the Lakers home games are. So when it sells out. So, I mean, that's pretty awesome for a WNBA game to have 19,000 in the building. But so, I mean, there's a lot of new viewers coming. So some of the hate that these rookies are getting seems misplaced. Yeah, contact basketball is not quite what that is. That is combat basketball right there. Like contact, no blood, no foul. You beat each other up. That was combat basketball. Let me grab you by the throat. And oh, so it's me. Cool.
It is you, and you're actually awesome. It's actually getting worse.
Perfect.
So,
perfect.
So just so that you know,
annoying.
We love Comcast.
Is the worst.
Got to get it right from the router into the computer. Just got to get the hardwired.
Yeah, I can't even do that to this one. One of my other laptops I might be able to, but this one, not even an option.
But there was something that did happen over the weekend. Caitlin Clark did win her first game.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, see, maybe that's what we got to do. We just got to yell at Comcast, and all of a sudden you cleared up.
Oh, to get better? Nice.
Yeah.
So they're watching the show. I like it.
You may have, either that or you have too many windows open. That might be.
Anything's possible. I was working on a lot of stuff and didn't restart my computer, so that could be a part of the problem too. Maybe I'll do that during our break. Restart
There we
machine.
go. I'll make sure to hit the the extra commercials.
Yeah, that's right.
The break time. So, you know what? But she did win her first game against Los Angeles. The Sparks gave up. Gave it up. So they finally did win a game. Caitlin Clark is on the board with a W. Like I said, I wonder if she's getting overmatched by all these players, because she is really not doing kind of what she was doing in college. And I understand, hey, listen, she didn't get any time off. She didn't get any of that stuff. But, I mean, what are we to expect from her? Like, is this going to be her, hey, all right, I'm going to be okay right now, and then hopefully I'll be able to come out, be better later? Or is it something that's going to be the start of the way that she is from here on out?
No, I think she's going to be okay. The one thing is you're the number 1 overall pick, and I don't care what league you're in, you're going to a bad team. Just part of it. So the odds of you coming out and just killing it are pretty low. Now, she's not off a great start, but I mean, again, she's going to be okay. But on.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's an indication of them not being able to come in and ball out and is off the start. So I don't think it's going to be a long term. It's this is not working out well.
Nope. I tell you what, we are going to take a quick commercial break right now while he resets his computer. So we'll take one now, and we'll do one at, once we come back, we're going to do 2 of these commercials now, and then 2 more commercials in another 40 minutes, like a normal show would. So we'll be back right after these commercial messages. Let's go with this one.
Mr. Green?
Yeah.
You need any help?
Mm-mm.
I just want you to know, I think you're the best ever.
Yeah, sure.
Want my Coke? It's okay, you can have it.
No.
Really, you can have it.
Okay.
A Coke and a smile makes me feel good, makes me feel nice.
Be around.
That's the way it should be. I like to say,
Hey, kid.
the whole world is smiling with me. Coca-Cola as life. Have a Coke and
Thanks, Mean Joe.
smile.
When you drive to Wendy's and order a single, you get more beef than the Whopper or the Big Mac. At Wendy's, you never have to ask, where's the beef?
You know, one of the best things about being an ex-big leaguer is getting freebies to the game. Call the front office, bingo. And once these fans recognize me, I probably won't even have to pay for my light beer from Miller. Down it! I love them. These fans know I drink light because it's less filling and it tastes great. Good seats, huh?
You're in the wrong seat, buddy. Come on.
Oh, I must be in the front row.
Come on.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer and less.
Good seats, hey, buddy? He missed the tag! He missed the tag!
My baloney has a first name. It's O-S-C-A-R. My baloney has a second name. It's M-A-Y-E-R. Oh, I love to eat it every day. And if you ask me why, I'll say, 'cause Oscar Mayer has a way with B-O-L-O-G-N-A.
Oscar Mayer, the first name in Bologna.
How's that?
This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
All right.
And we are back with our first commercial break of the day. Thank God I had all those commercials.
Hopefully that works. It, man, I don't know.
You know, I'm sorry. I have to put this up here. All this time, I thought you were Wendell, not Wendy. So I thought that you had different anatomy. I apologize, Wendy.
That is hilarious. No.
And I just want to mention this out there because I've been bad. Anybody who is in the Tampa Bay area who is interested in going to an Eagles event, all the Eagles fans from the Tampa Bay area, like I don't want to say the wrong thing. Philly of the South is having an event, and Nakobe Dean is going to be there, signing autographs, taking pictures, and having a good time at I gotta say Tampa Joe's, because that's where they have all their events at Tampa Joe's, which is a Philly bar in Tampa Bay. But they are definitely going to have Nakobe Dean down there. So definitely go check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tickets are available on, I'll tell you right now, go to phillyofthesouth.com and get your tickets. Today should be a good time. Hardest part about doing things in the summer is that everybody wants to go to the beach. You can miss the beach for a day if you live in Tampa.
That's fair.
Exactly. So we were talking about, as you're much clearer now.
Oh, good. Did it help?
You are definitely much clearer now. So we were talking about Caitlin Clark.
Yep.
And, the other thing I saw my cousin post something about this. The View. Now, I don't know of anybody who watches The View. I am not somebody who watches The View.
Nope.
I could care less what four Democratic women who have no sense of reality talk about. I could care less what they talk about.
And are just generally angry at everything.
However, the one girl who said straight out that the only reason why Caitlin Clark's getting any of this. Now, this is from a feminist group.
Yeah.
This is from a feminist group. One of the women says the reason why Caitlin Clark is getting so much publicity is because she's white and she's pretty.
That is asinine.
That was said on The View. Now, this is a feminist group here.
Sure.
This is very feminist. And most of the women on the group are women of color, of course. You know what I mean? I think they do have one white girl on there, and the rest are women of color. That being said, you're all women.
Yeah, why you got to tear her down?
All of a sudden now, because she's white in a sport that's dominated particularly by women of color, you're going to start talking shit? Are
Yeah.
you kidding me? Are you serious? Like, that's
Well,
what you're going to do? Like,
and you're really going to minimize the fact that she set all these records in college? Like, we're just going to just glaze right past that? And then you, in that same breath, you're not going to take the time to talk about what Angel Reese was able to do while she was there, right? She was bringing awareness to the sport as well. We're just going to drop that out. Why? Because she is a woman of color? Like, what are we even talking about? Like, if you are, I don't get the women tearing each other down in a scenario where you should be able to celebrate the win.
catty. It's catty bullshit is what it is. And it makes me realize, like, hey, you know what? Truth of the matter is they're not about women. They're just about themselves. That's what this is all about. I want to say something that's going to get people talking, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to say something really stupid. It's like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. I'm not the biggest feminist.
Sure.
Hey, listen, I'm all about, hey, women in sports, God bless them. You know what I mean? Do your thing. I want you to succeed. I would love it if everybody went to those games the same way they go to every other game.
Yeah, but you're not the Buckner route where you're saying, make me a sandwich either. So,
right. Well, I mean, listen, it's going to be just a matter of time because before the Philadelphia Bells play basketball here. And you know that if that's the case, I'm going to be out there supporting them.
Sure.
And my face paint and everything. You know what I mean? Because that's what you got to do. They're part of Philadelphia. They're going to be part of the fabric here. If they're going to get this team, then I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
So, but me not being the biggest feminist, not being the person who, like I said, I don't really see color. I could care less. You could be any color you want to be. You know what I mean? You could identify as any color you want to identify as. I'm going to talk to you like I'm talking to you.
Yeah, of course.
Because it just doesn't matter to me. Like I said, I can have a normal conversation with anybody because what you eat don't make me shit. That being said, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. This women on women crime, because that's what that was. That was a crime. That's what she said. That's ridiculous to me. And,
and you play that card similar to what we were talking about earlier, when you don't have another way to tear someone down, right? Because you can't go after her athletic career. So that's the only stance you could take. And yes, you did miss out on our first segment of Aaron Hernandez.
Yes, Steve.
Not Aaron,
but don't worry. We'll talk about it again. We will definitely talk about it again a little bit. We'll bring that back up because we're not just super excited. I may actually have to play some music and stuff like that.
Right.
To get that. And that's right. I like sandwiches too, but I do like pot pies. Make me a pot pie.
I like a pot pie as long as it's not from Cracker Barrel.
Not a meatloaf. But I find it just absolutely ridiculous that that actually came out of this woman's mouth. And again, similar to the umpires, they have no checks and balances on that show. There's no checks and balances. Yeah. Like, are you kidding me? Like somebody else on that panel. Listen, Whoopi Goldberg is one of the bigger feminists that I know. She's always trying to support women. The fact that Whoopi Goldberg did not say anything about that she let it just go, just made me think that, all right, you know what? This show isn't worth the money that they're spending in advertising anymore. It's absolutely ridiculous. And now I didn't watch it before. Not only do I not have any interest at all, but I really believe that somebody should call them out in a big, big way.
So did no one on the panel try and...
Nope.
Nothing. Wow. See, that is insane to me.
At least nothing that I saw. Nothing that I was able to find. So But I mean, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to me that
Well, and
this woman.
It would have been one thing, right? If they would have went after, like, hey, maybe she shouldn't be driving this much because she isn't having success in the league. You could even kind of like be like, oh, okay, you know, maybe it's not transferring the way that you thought it should and whatever. Like, you could even kind of stomach that argument. But if you're just going after a race because you got nothing to say, but you want to tear this girl down, that makes no sense. And that is some of the weakest, lazy type of reporting you could do.
I the only reason why I even heard about this was because my cousin. Now, my cousin, who is a TikToker, he doesn't have anywhere near the same following as I do. He happens to be a Ravens fan, so I only follow him because he's my cousin. Actually, that's not true. He's also really good. We actually had him on our show. We did have him on our show talking about the WWE.
Oh, okay.
So he would be that guy. He would be the guy that I'd bring on. But he actually had some really good commentary about it. It was just like, I don't understand. Like, I'm not somebody who's I'm not spending any money on the WNBA right now because they're nowhere near me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the only women's sports team in the city of Philadelphia as we speak right now is an Ultimate Frisbee team. They have a women's Ultimate Frisbee team. Who's doing better than the guys, actually, because the guys are stinking up the joint. But we have a women's Ultimate Frisbee team. That's the only professional sports athlete that's women in Philadelphia at the moment. I think that's actually sad. I find that very sad for a city full of sports fans.
Didn't you guys have I guess it's a semi-pro hockey team, I guess.
It was a semi-pro football team.
Oh, okay.
And with that was in the WNFL, the Philadelphia Phantoms, and they folded. Which was a shame because like I was going to go out and support them. I think what happened was they lost the field that they were playing on. You know what I mean? It becomes a matter of how do we get anybody to show up anywhere? Yeah. And that was part of the issue. So that being said, it's a shame. It's a shame that in a city full of sports, and I mean, and you could say this I can't explain this any other way but say it's a very blue city. Yeah. It's very, very Democrat, which means that it would be the right environment to have women's sports. They don't here. They don't here. And that is a shame. That being said, I would support them if they were here. And if the moment that they come here, I will be one of the first ones trying to get my tickets and stuff like that. I will probably buy cheap season tickets so that I can get in there and paint my face and do my thing and support them every way that I can. Yep. You know what I mean? Because that's what I do. I support Philadelphia, and I want everybody in Philadelphia to succeed.
Yep.
So, but that just bothers the living hell out of me. That's what came out of her mouth. That's how she went about and said this.
I mean, it's such a weak attack. I mean, you're going from somebody that set all kinds of records in college. You're bringing all of this good press to the league, and that's the angle you got to try and take.
Yeah, but this isn't the first one.
No,
I mean, this is women on women crime all over the place here. I mean, we had before she even got drafted. The first girl said, "Well, she didn't break my record because I played with a bigger ball." And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Can't you just be gracious? Hey, different era.
That's like last year, Angel getting villainized because she's out there like, oh, ring, and but they weren't saying anything about Clark with also talking. So it was only bad if Angel was talking. Like what are we doing right now? Every dude out there in a championship setting has done something to that effect.
and she got over it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and it was Caitlin Clark who slowed that down too. Like,
Yep.
it made me wonder how much how much of friends are Angel and Caitlin. Are they friends?
I mean,
Like
they
you,
probably weren't initially, right? But I would bet through this process they've become them.
yeah. I mean, they're both in the league. Listen, speaking about it very plainly, these guys, there's a small fraternity or sorority, I guess is the better word to use here, that play professional basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have what, 12 teams, 14 teams. And there's 12
Yeah.
women on a team. We'll call it 15 women on a team.
Yeah.
So 15, 30 times 7, that means there's 210 professional women basketball players. That's a very small fraternity,
No
very
doubt.
small sorority or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Group of people. They probably should know everybody. That you should know every one of them.
Well, especially when you are in, like, in their scenario, they're in the same draft class. They battled each other all through college, and on the highest stage, they've had to endure criticism from the outside the whole way through. So, I mean, again, I don't think they're probably best friends or anything, but I bet they're friendly, right?
Right. I got to imagine, like, hey, listen, if there's an all-star game, they could be playing on the same team, right?
Yeah. In fact, I would bet they will.
So they're both in the East, is what I'm kind of getting at, right? Like, they're not going to be playing against each other.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. I'd have to look, but I think you're right there.
But I mean, and so yes, if I mean, I didn't know about Angel until all the backlash that she got.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I didn't hear about her again until they played each other again.
Yeah.
So there's been so much that's going on about this with the WNBA. It's a shame. It really is a shame because if with you starting to do that with women on women crime, which is what I'm explaining this as, the moment you do that, you've turned off people now to the sport in general.
No doubt.
So the View just took away marginal viewers.
Yeah.
Marginal viewers. Because
and certainly momentum the league was getting. Right? Because if you're a fan of that show, that's going to dissuade you from watching.
Right. And it's a shame. It's a shame. Probably because, Caitlin Clark is getting all the attention. Maybe because she's the one that's most marketable. No offense. Maybe she's just marketable because she's a great basketball player. She's intelligent. They can put her in front of a camera. And
she has all the new hype coming in. Right? She was just in the championship game. She just got drafted. Like, rookies always drive when they had a great college career. You mean to tell me that there wasn't lots of hype around the NFL when Tebow was coming in? Like, what are we talking about right now? It's always just whatever quote unquote phenom is coming in. Right?
Right.
It doesn't matter what sport it is. Okay. So Caitlin Clark is white. That doesn't, like, if she was someone of color, that set all those records, you're still going to have the hype train coming in.
And not for nothing. I mean, because they also promoted Angel Reese. They also promoted the girl from was it Alabama or South Carolina?
Cameron Brink. Yeah.
Yeah. So all three of them were promoted. As far as I know, only one is white, right? Cameron Brink's not white. Correct?
Brink is.
Oh, she's white as well?
Yeah.
She's not getting any of the play, I guess, in terms of like that.
She didn't set all the records. I mean, that's the thing, is you're talking about somebody that set the single season record, career record, 3-point record, and all-time record men's and women's. Like
right.
that's a lot of
NCAA record. You know, I mean,
yeah,
NCAA
like of
record.
all-time scoring for basketball. Period. I mean, man.
But and not for nothing, when you still look at all of the different demographics in this country, I think there's still what 65% of this country is white.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Yeah. So no
That's a fair
offense, no offense to that, but you have to cater to some of the demographics. You have to. You know what I mean? It's like it really is very frustrating about just the way this is all going down, and it's just I.
Yeah.
It's funny that it's coming out in women's basketball and it's coming out from women.
Yeah.
That's the issue. That's the issue I have with it all.
I mean, I always have a problem with it because not everything is a racial problem. Like I understand that the media likes to push that everything is for whatever reason, but it's not. Sometimes you just have a good player and she happens to be whatever race she is. Like, and it doesn't matter. Like, I'm a bigger fan of Angel Reese than Caitlin Clark.
I could care either way, actually, to be honest. I'm just not, doesn't matter to me in either direction. Is Caitlin Clark going to win a championship this year? Probably not. Is Angel Reese going to win a championship this year? Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. When you're drafted high, again, bad teams. It just is what it is.
Right. When you're the number one pick, unless you are the Chicago Bears, who got lucky and got the number one, like stole the number one pick because you have a idiot franchise like the Panthers.
Yep.
Then that's how you get it. Otherwise, you stink.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Just a bummer. It's just a bummer that that's still happening in the world here.
Yes.
But
yeah, because I mean, if nothing else, if there was a group that should be trying to elevate the game, it should be other women, right?
Should be. That's what
I
I would think.
I feel like that should be your easiest demographic to win over.
I would think so too, but
I just find it interesting when you're out there banging the shield of women's sports need to be better positioned and make more money and all of this, and then as a group you are sabotaging at the same time. Just weird to me.
Okay, here's something that was interesting that came across my path here a few minutes ago. The Washington Commanders were made aware. I'm changing over from women's basketball. I'm done talking about the View. Yeah. They got way too much time than I wanted to even give them.
There is no doubt, especially for a show I've never watched.
Yeah, exactly. Were made aware of a lawsuit filed in civil court last week against kicker Brandon McManus and the Jacksonville Jaguars, where he and the Jaguars were accused of sexual assaults. So,
wow,
that's an interesting. They're seeking more than $1 million on a jury trial. His agent is Drew Rosenhaus and says. He didn't say anything. In fact, he's just waiting to try to hear all about this. And he's a Philadelphia native, so he's got that going for him, I guess. But he is now playing. Jane Doe 1 and Jane Doe 2 filed this.
Okay.
So that's
interesting.
The Washington Commanders, again, also having a difficult time. Still doesn't matter. That get rid of the owner. New owner, doesn't matter. We got everybody. SA and everybody here.
That's crazy.
So, what are we talking about? Let's see. Anything else going on in football? Nope. Nothing's really going on in football other than the NFLPA is going to change the way they do the off-season workouts. I think it doesn't. There's a whole big article about it here. After reading the article, it looks to me like they are going to allow teams to have more off-season workouts because that this is they're saying that it's actually.
I mean, they need to.
They are. It's actually eliminating voluntary and trying to do it more as a mandatory.
Yeah,
I know that's how I see it.
I know that their plan was to increase the amount of scrimmage style practices, right? Where they're dual practices with other teams, which makes sense because as you continue to keep losing preseason games, like you're going to need some live type of reps.
Well, I thought that they were going to do that more, that they like that practicing against other teams was not only good.
There is supposed to be more of that this year.
Okay. I mean, because the Eagles were really the ones that started that. Yeah, the Eagles, and actually it was the Eagles and the Patriots.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, because Chip Kelly and Belichick had a love affair. You know what I mean? They were absolutely friends. And you can't. There's no doubt in my mind that Belichick threw a game for Chip Kelly to try to keep Chip Kelly in the league. No doubt in my mind. How do you, Brady throwing 2 interceptions and, it was like the Eagles have 3 runbacks for touchdowns, I think, in that game. I think it was 2 kickoffs and a punt return for touchdowns.
Oof.
Yeah, that tells me that somebody was trying to give something up. Yeah. Hey, listen, we're going to go right. You guys all go left. But
yeah, usually if that's going to happen, it happens once for the year, not multiple times in a game.
But they were the first ones that start that process, and then everybody started to do it. They started like, oh, we kind of like that whole idea. We can actually go have a practice with the world champions. Yeah, that's kind of good. Let me get our guys' egos up here a little bit, because that's really what you're doing. Yeah. But so yeah, I mean that's happening. So I kind of like that idea. I feel like this is also coming down to they have to start changing the way that they're doing some of these things because it's going to go to a 18-game season here within I think it's going to happen by 2026, 2027.
No, I could definitely see that, especially, if they get rid of another preseason game, but they increase the amount of these, multiple team practices. I could definitely see them making that happen. They got to do something to make it so that the beginning of the season isn't as bad as what we saw this year, though. So if it means they have more of these joint practices, obviously that'll help a lot, right? Because even though you're not going full speed, it is a little bit more live contact, right? So if then you trim it down to 2 preseason games, which is basically almost all just taking a look at guys that are going to be on your roster because you know who your starters are. You're not going to have them play at all in those 2 games because, I mean, you got to evaluate talent somehow.
Right. You do. Actually, what I think you should do is you have them do the 1 series and then you have them do the half. That's how that works. It's 1 series and then a half. That's how you should do those games, and ultimately to get them ready to be able to go so that in week 1, you guys are more prepared. Hey, listen, it's still always going to be the first 4 weeks of the season or preseason, regular season games. That's what happens. You have to be able to get all of your timing down. It's just
exactly
that's what those first 4 weeks are. That's what's going to happen. And that's why if you're a gambler,
it just sucks because it'll be in games that matter now.
Well, they're in games that matter now anyways.
They are. And I mean, and you've seen it really drop off soon as they went from having 4 preseason games where your starters used to actually get some pretty decent work before week 1. Now you have it where some of those guys didn't play in any of those games.
Right.
And it showed. So if you're going to trim it down one more time, I mean, you're going to have some really ugly play the first couple weeks.
And our coach doesn't like playing any of the starters.
Yeah.
He's like, why have them get hurt at any time in a game that doesn't matter?
Yeah.
So maybe that's what they do. They actually extend it so that everybody, you go to 20 games, just go straight 20 games.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Yeah.
But
I know that won't happen. Not anytime real soon, because it's also the money. Think about the money that would get involved with that. With one extra week of football, I think they determined that it would come out to be, what is it, like an additional $600 million that gets revenue generated, that gets split up amongst the teams.
No, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually it would come out to, with one extra game, each team would get additional $20 million. I think that's what we're talking about. There's 32 teams. So say 640 million, just to try to make it easy. If you did it by 20 million each, that's in salary cap. So that means if they're getting salary cap, that means that the owners are also getting 600 million.
That's right.
That means each week is worth $1.2 billion.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
That is crazy money. Yep.
Just to play a sport.
And yeah, I did see that, Robert. That was
I was going to bring that up. I was going to bring that up after our second break.
I got you.
So,
yeah, because you never want to see stuff like that.
It falls into the baseball category, and obviously my Phillies have cooled off a half a second. They had Harper thrown out in game one. That's okay. They won game two. Then they lost game three. It was the first series lost in 15 series. And then they lost the first game against the Giants. So we'll see if that's anything else happens this week for that. But Atlanta, even with the loss of Acuna, is still the third best team in the National League.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they slide.
And I think they will slide a little bit, but it's we haven't even gotten into the dog days of summer yet.
Yeah.
We're not even anywhere near there yet. So anyways, but as things are starting to get moving here, people are starting to get figured out who they're going to take on their fantasy drafts for fantasy football. Now, we have to do a draft every year. We don't have any guys that, I'm not in any leagues that I get to keep my players from year to year. And since I was the champion last year, I'm very excited to get my trophy come September and parade it around, like I'm going to be having it like on my wall, like where you see like right where my thumb's at, that's right where it's going to go. I think I'm going to put a little thing there, and it's a big trophy. It's a big cup. So, because when I started the league, I think now 22 years ago, and when I started the league, I went into the trophy place. I'm like, give me the biggest trophy you got that nobody came to pick up.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And they had this monster cup. I'm like, that's perfect. Now also give me a plaque with a horse's ass on it. So that's how that works. It's like, okay, there we go. So I have this.
I didn't think about that. That's actually kind of a good way to get a trophy.
The horse's asses trophy?
Yeah. Well, but to go into a trophy shop and be like, what's the one no one's come and got?
Yeah. What's the biggest one nobody got? And they gave it to me, and it had like 4 tiers. I'm like, this is awesome. Perfect.
That is great.
And it was pretty inexpensive because obviously somebody else had paid for it. So I only like paid $20 for it. This big ass trophy and I finally will get to drink something out of the cup for the first time.
22 years later.
22 years later. My first time ever winning fantasy football, the fantasy football champion. And you know what? It's because I didn't talk any smack this year. Normally, I set the league off with smack talking, and there was one year. I tell you, if you are one of those guys that doesn't have to be there for your draft and you want to go ahead and have the computer draft your players, make sure that you have limits on how many players you get, on the type of player you get, because
Oh, funny.
I one year I couldn't be there and I was automatically picking, and I wound up with two of each player, like I maybe like four wide receivers, four running backs, two quarterbacks, whatever, and then the rest were tight ends.
Because it did best available.
Well, yeah, and the best availables are always tight ends as you get up there. So I made that was the joke of that year where I changed my team name from the Swarthmore Shitheels or something like that to I got effed in my tight end.
Yes.
So yeah, and that was exact. That was a real thing. So
that is awesome.
So yeah, absolutely make sure that because you only need two tight ends. You only need two. Ever. You only need two tight ends. Probably only need one. I'm one of those guys. I like to take receivers. I want to get all the receivers I can. Get like two monster running backs and a third one just to try to hold on. And then everybody else is receiver, and two good quarterbacks. Get one quarterback up high, another quarterback in like the 7th round, and that's that, because you don't want your quarterback getting hurt and then having to deal with Daniel Jones.
There is that. Well, that means he doesn't want you to play, Rob. If you've won, he wants to try and repeat. He doesn't want that kind of competition.
Yeah, well, I don't care. The truth of the matter is the fact that I won. We could do one here. We'll do one on the show when we get closer to it.
That would be some fun shit talking anyway.
Dealing with Robert, maybe get Paul, get some other guys, and see if maybe Jay will show up on occasion and actually talk about his fantasy team.
Yeah, the Coast to Coast show, Coast to Coast League. I like it.
Get 8 so that we could all have great teams.
Yeah.
Have 3 wide receivers playing, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, 1 quarterback. I don't like the 2 quarterback leagues. I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, I mean, you just go get somebody off the waiver wire for your bye week.
But no, we'll do it the right way. Like, you got to have people on your whatever. But an 8-person league, there's going to be a lot of players. There's going to be a lot of players to choose from.
Yes.
When you're dealing with a 10 or a 12-person league, you start to lose players in round 12, 13. Things are become harder. But.
Yeah, no, so I never play fantasy football, but I got roped into it last year. And I was the 16th in the group, right? So I got the last pick in the first round. Now it was a snake style, so I had 2 picks in a row. But
not a fan of that. I would much rather have the 8th or 9th pick in that draft.
No doubt. Yeah. Well, so as you can imagine, I did not have a great team, right? Because by the time you're picking 16th, most of the people that you would have wanted to get in the first round are no longer in the first round.
Right. No, that's a tough one. You almost got to go for your who's the second best quarterback at that point, because there's a run on all the top name running backs, all the top name receivers.
So it was kind of the opposite, like all the quarterbacks and your high dollar receivers all left in the first round.
Oh, it was a cap league.
What's that?
You got a salary cap?
No, just for whatever reason, the first overall pick took a quarterback, and then that just spawned a lot of people taking QBs.
Damn. I would have definitely taken running back and wide receiver then, because you don't need a quarterback. The quarterback, a halfway decent quarterback can be picked in the third round in that setting, can be picked in the third round, and it be like a guy who's going to get you like 18 to 20 points, because you got to rely on the fact that you need a running back and a receiver. With the 2 picks, that's who I would have picked. I would have picked your best running back, your best receiver, and just waited.
It was funny because that's the route I went, right? Because
you couldn't even get your tight end that. You couldn't even get like a Kelsey or anything like that.
No,
they're already gone.
Everybody you would have wanted was gone. So like at running back, I took Madison, and which would have been fine if the Vikings ever wanted to run the ball ever, because he's actually a good running back. They just didn't hand him the ball, and then I had. I went through 5 quarterbacks because of injuries, and so needless to say, I did not place very well. I think I ended up 9th in the league, which overall, like I'll take that. But yeah, I went through 5 quarterbacks. I went through 3 running backs, and I think 3 receivers. So I was in a league that also had defense. Right. You got points off of defense. I had an elite defense because I wasn't in position to actually get any of the top offensive guys. So I'm like, you know what I am going to get is some defense. So,
did you go individual with defensive players?
Yeah. So there was some of that. Yeah. So it wasn't just overall defense. There was overall defense, and then there was individual players. So it was kind of a involved league, but and admittedly, I wasn't great about going in and making trade. Like I didn't actually trade anybody. I just went into the waiver wire, and anybody I had on either a bye week or an injury, you swap them out. But
right.
But it was just one of those. Like I didn't have anybody to offer to even make a trade because my team was just trash.
Right. Exactly. And you're like, okay, this sucks. Yeah, I paid this money for this. Great. Woohoo. Yay, me.
Fortunately, I didn't have to pay to get in this one. It was a very special ask for me to be involved in it. So I was like, all right. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. Ours is like $100. It's not really anything. We're not trying. It's not about the money. It's more about the hanging with people and stuff like that. And so I was excited that I beat the guy who had gone to the championship for 3 years in a row and did not win one. I kept that streak going.
He's going to be in it next year too.
Yeah, well, at the time he was like, first time he made it, he was like 16 and then 17, and now he's in college. So it's, it's like, all right, the kid, 3 years in a row he's been doing that. But my biggest problem is the Wednesday waiver wire. I'm busy on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so I would never go ahead and do that. And it's like I didn't want to waste my waiver position for somebody, for a half-ass guy. Yeah. So if you pick somebody at that, so you got to do it at the end so that you don't lose your waiver position, just in case I need to pick somebody up later. And truth of the matter is that doesn't work either. So
no, that's why I was just targeting free agents. You can sign them whenever.
Right. But anyways, let's take our second commercial break, and we will be back in just a few moments after these commercial messages to talk about how Acuna is not going to be walking anytime real soon.
There is that.
There is that. So we'll be back in just a few moments.
I mean, you can see right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready. I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face. Oh, from Brooklyn. Hey, get any...
Trisha's having a sleepover tonight. Can I go?
I wonder about Lucy's friends. What should I say? I know you're only 10, but one of these days a friend will offer you a drink. And alcohol at your age can lead to so many things. None of them good.
So can I go to the sleepover?
Lucy, I want you to promise me
I
something.
finished my homework.
Bigger promise. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
Mom.
I promise you. Your real friends won't care. Deal?
Sure.
Really?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov, a public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Sometimes, all you need to change your life is a sign. A sign that says, "Hank, this is the place you've been looking for." And sometimes that sign is an actual sign that's mounted to a building. One second, I'm looking at a sign. I know what you're thinking, and no, I don't love B-dubs just because I'm a buffalo with wings. Frankly, that's offensive and reductionist. Cause this place, come on. It's like they took beer and made it into a place and then gave that place sports and chicken wings. And the people? Cuba. The best.
Oh! What the is going on, Marty? This isn't a game. This is trivia.
Yeah, this place is kind of like heaven. You know, without needing to get hit by a bus. Let's go, sports bar.
Supporting the needs of our veterans. That's the goal of all of us at Team AmVets. Like Mitch, Carlos, and Kevin from our Welcome Home team that brings furniture to our vets.
We are Team AmVets.
Or Linda from our thrift stores who brings you great bargains every day.
I am Team AmVets.
And John, who picks up your thrift store donations that support California veterans programs.
I am Team AmVets.
Visit our website or a Team AmVets thrift store to donate or shop today.
Join the team!
This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
And we are back, rounding the curve and headed to home on this last bit of Coast to Coast. Actually, I kind of like the idea of two breaks at a time. I thought that's I like that whole style.
Yeah.
So, anyways, now we get to talk a little bit of baseball. The Phillies cooled off a bit. They said we lost 3 of our last 4 games since Harper was ejected in the first inning after just saying, "Excuse me, can you tell me where that ball was?" "No, out of here." That's what he said. He just was like, "No, I do not want to tell you where that ball was, and how dare you ask me anything of the sort? Get out of my game." And that's how the umpire said that.
Where that ball was on your couch.
Exactly. You know what? That's in the showers, just like where you're going to be right now. So, yeah, that was ridiculous. That was absolutely ridiculous. How did the Mariners do this week?
Good. In fact, they just they ended up splitting their road series, right? Ended up 500 through that, which anytime you can go on the road and finish 500 is pretty solid. And then they come back yesterday against the Astros and get the win 3-2. So, you know, they're just they keep clawing away at it, which I like.
What do you attribute? I mean, besides the pitching, like, is it J-Rod starting to become the leader of that team? Is it a combination of like the manager making the right calls and the pitching just doing its job? Like, what do you attribute? Because they're not scoring a ton of runs, but they are winning games.
I mean, that's the thing, is they're making smart decisions and the pitching is coming through, right? Because like you said, they're not putting up huge numbers. Like they're not they're not knocking the cover off the ball by any stretch of the imagination. So, I mean, a lot of these are the pitching coming through and securing wins. So, I mean, obviously when you're winning 3-2, a lot of that's on your pitching, right?
Much.
So it's, yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that is actually kind of encouraging about this team is that the pitching has been very consistent. So, it's not like we're relying on bats that are having hot streaks and stuff like that. I mean, pitching, you can kind of count on, right? It's why late in the year, a lot of teams will make a move to bring in an extra closer or something like that, because, pitching can win you games. I remember, back in the day with those Atlanta teams, pitching was their thing. So yeah, I attribute it mostly to the pitching being solid, because the bats just still aren't there.
I mean, they're 3 games over 500, so it's not like that they're
not killing it. Yeah,
they're not setting the world on fire. I mean,
no, they're 5-5 in the last 10. I mean, they're not doing anything special, really, but they're playing.
I'm gonna give you some statistics here.
Sure.
They score 3.7 runs a game, which is tied for 27th in the league.
That seems right.
They get 7.3 hits a game, which is 28th in the league. A 224 batting average, 27th. OPB, on base percentage, is 298, 27th. Mm-hmm. Slugging percentage is 368, which is 22nd. OPS, which is 666, the Devils' number, 24th. Interestingly enough, 9th in home runs was 61. So they are scoring big hits at different times. Stolen bases, they're 16th at 33. Their runs allowed is tied for 7th in the league at 3.8. Their hits allowed is 2nd in the league at 7.1. The opponent's batting average is 220. Their ERA is 366. 220 is 4th best in the league. 366 opposing ERA is 9th in the league. Yep. Their WHIP is 1.07, 1st in the league. So they are winning this. Pitches, they got about 8.5 strikeouts per 9 innings. That's 13th. They've given up 59 home runs, which is tied for 19th. And their fielding percentage is 0.983, which is tied for 21st in the league. So those are your rankings. Your offense is in the bottom, and your pitching is in the top.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If they were to make a move at the trade deadline, you have to imagine it's for a bat.
Yes, I think it would be for a bat, which makes me wonder a little bit, because the Phillies are going to have an issue here very shortly, the moment that Turner comes back. Because are they going to? I've been saying they're going to send down Turnbull, but I'm not the GM of this team, so I can't speak intelligently. I have to imagine that there has been some conversations about Cody Clemens. Cody Clemens is, I think he's batting somewhere in the neighborhood of 300. He has some power. He has hit like home runs and stuff like that. Obviously, his father should be in the Hall of Fame, but is not, and we're not going to get into that conversation. But that he's a ball player, and he's not playing because, he's playing right now because there's a spot for him. But truth of the matter is that he's like the odd man out. Yeah. There's other guys that could be there. Whit Merrifield, who was really good even up to last year. He's not been playing the best this year. there's something to be said maybe for Nick Castellanos possibly being trade bait because his batting average is somewhere in the 200s, like 208, I think it is right now.
Mm.
But the Phillies are still the best team in baseball right now.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have a good problem to have, right? Like you guys have depth where you're just like, man, who do we send down?
Right. That's the problem. When we're talking about the 27th man on the roster, that's a great problem to have.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. Like when you legitimately have a concern of who are we gonna send when we have to, that's a great place to be.
Right. So I believe that, I think that there is some trade possibility. However, I think I'd have to go a little bit further south than to trade with you guys.
Yeah.
Because there's a closer over there who I sure as hell would love to have on this team. In fact, if we had him the way he's pitching this year, if we had him closing for us this year, I would say that we're shoe in for the World Series. We're shoe in to win the World Series, and that's the guy over in Oakland. That guy is just pitching ridiculous. He's
out
pitching
of his mind.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
So Julio is a problem right now. Really? Yeah. Hey, you know what? I feel like that's. Did he have a really good spring? Did J-Rod hit a lot of home runs in the spring, Robert? Spring training.
As I recall, nobody had a great spring for the Mariners.
If he had a better spring, it's a 6th in the order, huh? Okay. Well, I mean, everybody's batting 220 right now, so on that as a team.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody's hitting the ball. Great. I didn't see where he's at specifically, but I will check it right now since you brought him up and you say that he's got to go. I know you didn't say that, but I'm telling you. Actually, really? He's your best hitter on the team, by the way, that you moved him to 6th at 265. 265.
The bats are weak.
He's only got 4 home runs. You got Raleigh. Raleigh is your guy right now, who's batting 210 and has hit 11 home runs. Polanco is under the Mendoza line. Garver is under the Mendoza line. You got Josh Rojas, who's playing third base. He's actually playing pretty well. How many bats has he got? Because he's batting 281. He would actually be your best batter at this point. Yeah, he's only got 139 at bats, but I would be making sure he's got more because he's obviously hitting the ball. But yeah, J-Rod is still your best hitter really on that team, even though he's not hitting the long ball. Only 4 home runs. Polanco went on to the IL. Okay. Yeah, it's a bummer. Yeah, Bliss is was walked once. That's all he's done so far. So he just came up. So we'll see what happens in August when I come there.
I know I know the Mariners have moved some people around in the minors. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I know they brought a couple guys up to the Rainiers. So they might be trying to bring them along if their batting averages are high. So that's something I'm going to be kind of looking a little further into just because I saw a little blurb about them this morning, moving some players around. Because usually when you see a team doing that, it's because they want to make some sort of move.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to think of who would be a good trade partner with them, though. You know what I mean? That's because you're going to have to start making some moves here a little bit if you want to get bats to be able to go. But I mean, you guys are what? Are 3 games up right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3.5. I mean, right now the Rangers stink. Everybody else in your division is under 500.
Yep.
So
yeah, the Rangers have had a tough go, and
yeah, they're
winning
3-7 their
head
last
to head against the Stros is a bonus.
yes, but even them, they're 5-5 in their last 10.
Yeah.
So I do find it funny that everybody in that division has got a negative run differential.
Oh, are the M's back below?
-6
Yeah.
for the M's,
Makes
-6 for the Rangers, -5 for the Astros, -63 for the Athletics, and -36 for
the
Angels. But that pales in comparison to the worst in
White
the
Sox?
league. The White Sox have bad, but yeah, I think they have it the worst. They're -120. -120.
That is brutal.
Yes, that is. I mean, you think like the Rockies are 72. And actually, right now, the Marlins, I think, are the worst team in the league. I don't think that the White Sox have that anymore. Nope. It's the White Sox. They're 15-40, where the Marlins are 19-36.
Yeah, it's because the White Sox are like 1-9 in their last 10. So they had like a brief little window where they started to win a couple of games, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe they got this thing figured out a little bit. And then
then they lost 6 in a row.
Yeah.
So yeah, lost 6. Yeah, they got the longest losing streak right now, and I would assume that they just played the White Sox the Orioles, because they just won 5 in a row. So it might be.
Yeah, well, and they've been getting the brakes beat off them too. So it's not even like they've been close games. Like it's 5-1, 4-1, 5-3. At least that one was kind of respectable. But then they had like a 9-2, 9-3, 7-2. Like they're just not a good team, sadly. Like if you're a White Sox fan, your season's already over.
Yeah, you are done. Nobody has ever won only 15 games in their first 55 and made the playoffs. Yeah. So, and you're going to take one of their players, which is perfect.
That would be why. Why would we do that?
Well, probably because he's the best hitter in on that team. How about the Dodgers losing 5 straight? They're calling for the manager's head. It's amazing to me.
They lost 5 straight.
They have lost 5 straight. Oh my God! See, this is where I'm. Shohei Ohtani says he lost sleep after his translator was accused of stealing millions of dollars from the two-way baseball star.
Oh, he lost sleep. Oh, sad panda.
Oh, man, this is...
What are we talking about right now?
Yeah.
You should lose sleep if you lost,
He said he stole
$40 million.
$17 million is what was allegedly now stolen. You haven't seen much about this recently, but...
No, in fact, the only thing we even heard something kind of about it was the end of last week, where someone else is in trouble for using the same bookie.
Yes.
So the only reason Ohtani got brought up is because they used the same bookie that Ohtani used. Otherwise, I mean, they've done a very solid job of just brushing this thing under the rug. They're like, oh, yeah, no, we got our fall guy. Keep it moving.
Yeah, well, it's the way it works sometimes. And he is starting to pitch again. He's been throwing about 60 to 70 pitches, somewhere in the 80-mile-per-hour mark. So,
What was his normal range? I guess I didn't pay that close attention to.
He was pitching in the 90 some, like 94, 95, 96 mile per hour.
Oh, kind of mid 90s. Okay.
So that's what I thought. But yeah, he's throwing somewhere about 60 to 70 pitches every 5 days just to see how it's doing. Yeah, but other than that, the big story in baseball is Angel Hernandez.
Yes.
Gone.
Here we go.
He's not an angel anymore. His wings were cut. He's down. So, yeah, it's
oh, he has hit over 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
Pitch speed. Huh. Had no idea.
Me neither.
But yes, Hernandez being gone is great, and it's great for a lot of reasons, right? One, obviously, because we don't have to endure his dumb stuff anymore, but also because now there's some sort of precedent of getting bad umps out. Even if you do have to say, oh, it's a retirement and it's a payoff, whatever. Good. However you got to do it. Let's get people in there that can accurately call balls and strikes. Otherwise, it's going to be the robo, which, whatever.
We're almost there. We are almost there with that. So,
yeah, I wonder if this delays that. I wonder if this was really the push behind it. Like, look, you either get him out or we're going to the electronics. I wonder if that's the ultimatum that ultimately MLB levied down. They're like, look, we're starting to have a problem. You can either get rid of him, get him to retire, whatever, or we're going to do the electronics. And obviously the union doesn't want them to go that route, right? Because it takes the need for these umpires off the table. I mean, you'll still need them, but the importance of them goes down. I imagine the pay would go down.
Well, yeah. I mean, the pay probably wouldn't go down, but they wouldn't get a raise.
True. Yeah, they definitely wouldn't get raises.
That might be a 3-year moratorium on that. Actually, like it's normally you get like a 2% on that. So like a 2% raise that's automatically figured in. That's what unions kind of go with and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not part of that union, although I wouldn't mind it at this point. I mean, hey, I can't get fired. I can make bad calls all I want. Perfect.
And I'm in.
Yeah. You know,
you get to watch the playoffs at home because you're not allowed to ref those games.
Right. No, I'll just put my face paint on and be calling the game like that. That would be awesome. But so yeah. And at the moment right now, if you're paying attention, because we are above 50 games now in the standings, in the wild card, obviously you guys are leading in there. So the wild cards are for the AL, Baltimore, Kansas City, and Minnesota. Very interesting that it's 3 teams in the Central.
I mean, that whole division is playing good baseball, though.
Well, not the White Sox.
Yeah, I don't really count them as an actual baseball team.
But I mean, actually, the Guardians are doing really well, and obviously the Tigers are 9.5 points back, but they're still out of the wild card. The Tigers are only 3 games back in the wild card standing. So Rangers are 4.5 games back. So that kind of gives you an idea that you guys are really, if the Rangers were playing better, you guys would be in the wild card.
I don't think so. I think we'd be on the outside looking in. Because we have.
Yep, you would be.
Yeah, we would be just outside
by a half a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually by
no, I
one
mean-
full game, 29-24, and you get 29-26. So
Yeah, by a full game then. Yeah, so I mean, it's our division is one that you have to win to get in. Based on the way everybody's playing, there's one team from our division going.
right now, again, this
No,
is still
exactly.
May. It's still May. Like this is the first turn in this horse race. You know what I mean? So you finally made it to the first turn. You know, you're going there now. Now you got this long straightaway. That's you just came out of the first turn. Now you got this long straightaway here. June and July is like the dog days of summer. Once you get into August, it starts to get, really hot and things like that. And players will play differently in different temperatures. So Phillies are our main part of that. I could tell right away in game one, when the one that Harper got pulled out of, it was cold. It was cold there, and you could tell because everybody in the stands is wearing hoodies.
Yeah.
It's Colorado. You know what I mean? So any player I saw wasn't wearing long sleeves like Nola that day. I'm like, it's cold. It's cold over there. He don't like the cold, but he wound up, muscling through it and getting the W there. And then the next day was kind of warmer. So I kind of feel like that's like the Phillies are big on that. They like to play in warm weather. They don't like to play in the cold.
Yeah.
So that's why we have to move up the World Series to the middle of October rather than the end of October.
To mid-August.
Well, that's why I firmly
And
believe
summer.
that they lost last year.
Yeah.
That they didn't like the cold, that it was hot in Arizona. It was hot in Arizona. And then they came here and it was frigid.
Yeah.
Like I had to wear like a heavy shirt and an undershirt underneath that and my jersey over top of that. So along with my sleeve, you know what I mean? Because I wear so I was wearing all of that stuff. That's cold. That's cold.
Oh, no doubt.
And the Phillies got cold. That's why they lost those two games. You got to win. We needed to score 5 runs. They scored 2 and 3, I think.
Yeah.
So, but that's that. I mean, ultimately, we will see how that's going to go. But as I said, I am going to be out there. I'm working out all the details now to go out there. I'm gonna have a quick stop in Denver to go see a band play. And then come out.
And what dates were you planning to be here again?
2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
2nd, 3rd
of August.
Perfect. Cool. Yeah, I'll reach out to a couple of people that I know worked for different hotels.
Yeah, we'll do that, and we got to get some tickets that are I guess good seats. We had to get some good seats for that.
Yeah, we'll try and get something that's like behind the bullpen, something like that.
Yeah, actually, I like sitting behind the dugouts about 10 feet, 10 rows up.
Dugout? Okay.
Yeah, they probably run for Seattle. I would figure they run somewhere around $50 a pop. I'll tell you, I'll actually figure that out once I get everything booked, because that's really what I'm waiting on first. There's a lot of travel I'm going to be doing. I was filling out a sheet so far, and it's like there's lots of travel.
Yeah.
Starting with London, I go to London and I come back, and then I go once I get back from London on that Saturday, I go to Baltimore just for the day. Then I come back, and then I go. I'm home for a week, and then I go to Cape May, which is the Philly shore, and then I come back from the shore to go to Vegas.
Nice.
And then I come back from Vegas to go to Chicago, and then I come back from Chicago to go to Pittsburgh, and then I come back from Pittsburgh to then go to Seattle, And then maybe Kansas City. I may throw Kansas City in the mix.
Yeah, that is a lot of travel.
A lot of travel. And then once I get back from Kansas City, I go to Brazil.
Oh, Brazil. Yeah.
And then New Orleans, and then Tampa Bay, and then. You know what I mean? It's a lot of travel. Philly Sports Guy is going to be on the road, which means it might be a little bit tougher to do these shows.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, but I will definitely find the time. You know,
a lot of guest appearances from the airport.
Yeah, I'll have to be like that guy. You saw the videos of that guy where it looks like he's in his office. He has like the green screen in the background, and he's running around the field and everything.
Yep.
Like that'll be me, you know, with a whole bunch of stuff around me and be like, "Hey guys, here I am at the show."
That'd be amazing, actually.
That would be. Well, or doing the broadcast from the game. Like it's a 10-10 game that day, but. Yeah, but like doing a broadcast or doing a bit from those games would be fun.
For sure.
So
absolutely.
And then, like I said, I don't know if you can make it down to Vegas. Well, you're not a hockey fan anyway, so it doesn't matter. But going to the NHL draft, it's the last time the NHL is going to have their draft live.
Really?
Yeah, it's they don't get it the same way as the NFL does. So I literally was like, you know what, I'm going to go. I want to go to the NHL draft. Why not? I get so much play at the NFL draft. Why wouldn't I go to the NHL draft?
When is that?
The 28th and 29th of June.
Oh, yeah, I won't be able to say that.
Friday and Saturday. And it's at the Sphere.
Oh, that'll be cool.
So
that'll be cool. I'd be curious to see kind of what that really does look like inside. But I believe that weekend I am in Portland for a wedding. So,
gotcha. All right. Well, we'll have to figure that out another time.
Yep.
But anyways, we are at the top of the hour, and we talked mostly about sports today. You know, just a little bit of umpires, a little bit of The View, more than I really wanted to talk about The View. But
yep.
You know.
Well, but that was more of the detriment to sports that show causes.
Yeah. Tomorrow, I have a meeting all day, so I will not be able to do my podcast, my portion of the podcast. So this will be on you, unless Jay says that he can't make it, and then we will have a rerun of some sort. But either way, I will not be on the show tomorrow. But I will be back on Thursday to talk about all the good things that I've got going on, hopefully from tomorrow's meeting.
Perfect.
In the meantime, everybody, have a great day. Hope you guys had a good weekend, and we will see you next time. Take care.